one player is leaving undefeated from the building. Who will it be? Ailey and Corey have round number 8 for you. Take it away, you two.
Thank you very much, Maria. Jim Davis is king of day 1, huh? That's got a nice ring to it. I'm pretty sure he'll be happy to tout that crown a little bit.
I think so. I think so. But we do got to talk about it. That machine hasn't gotten a lot right today so far, so I don't know if we can trust
attention.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't listen to what the machines say. They're trying to get into your brains.
Exactly.
But what we want to get into your brains, friends, is the fact that someone is going undefeated in this matchup. Jim Davis up against Pedro. And we are super duper looking forward to seeing who is going to be crowned king of day number 1 here. And Pedro said in his interview, he's like, I'm just tired, man. This is a grueling day.
Yes, absolutely. And international travel, you know, fighting jet lag and stuff like that, always a tough thing. Yeah, being able to get to 7-0, though, really impressive for both players. Huge accomplishment no matter what. 7-1 at the end of the day or 8-0, excellent.
And, you know, that's also with Limited. So if you're just joining us now, these players do 3 rounds of Limited in the beginning of the day. And that can go any which way.
Yep.
You know, you have to be able to adapt your play style, and your deck building skills are tested. You know, it's not just, oh, bring a standard deck and hope for the best. You know, it's there's a lot of preparation that goes into these events.
Yep, the double format tournaments are always very tricky and very testing.
Little Skrelv getting in there for 1 ding damage. Is Jim Davis going to accept this? No, cut down. Poor Skrelv gets got into the bin he goes.
Yep, and that was a nice heads-up play from Jim there. It would make a lot of sense that if you were going to play something like Thalia or even a better 2-drop, you would leave Skrelv untapped. Yeah. So attacking with that was a pretty good sign that there was no 2-drop. Jim sniffed it out correctly there.
Blood-Tithe Harvester down on the board. The most frequent turn 2 play I think we're going to see all weekend. Yep. As black and red are just so powerful at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Rakdos Breach deck has looked really, really strong. Seth Manfield being the architect of this style of deck with Team CFB, but Jim making very good use of the really powerful deck. Just completely running the tables. Had a really nice match against Shota last round as well.
Rafine Scheming Seer. The stalwart card here of the Esper Legends. You know, this card is just such a powerhouse. It's kind of the glue that holds the Legends together, you know? Yeah,
definitely the reason to play the deck as well. Being able to loot away the extra Legends ends up being, you know, one of the most important things with this card.
Yeah, Rona, you know, the new addition in the 2-drop slot as well, being able to perform a similar role here for Rafine.
Looking at Jim's hand, though, he does not have a single play this turn and is really looking to maybe find cut down would be the best possible draw right now.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, just big score next turn to be able to find some wrong 1-drop there.
Yeah, I mean, at least there's one that he can cost right now. So
yeah, but
that's
you
okay.
usually don't have any hits against Esper Legends.
True.
So, you know, that's probably going to be the card you discard to with big score.
Yeah, for sure. Esper Legends, very light in the non-creature department. And you're tapping out. What are we going to see? Lorena the Third Path, Adeline, perhaps? What's
like
coming out? Adeline, yeah, Resplendent Cathar. Super powerful card. Attack trigger.
Yep, so resolving the Adeline trigger first to get the counter and then target Rafined the correct way here so you get those 2 draw steps to be able to target. And yeah, Jim just doesn't even have a great follow-up already. Big score, a very powerful card, and will help set up the rest of his draws, but Jim's going to be under a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, Lorena the Third Path.
I take 2. 18-18.
Getting discarded there. The little soldier just helps with an extra card draw, so he sacrificed himself there for the cause. And we're going to see Skrelv once again hit the battlefield and maybe stick around a little longer this time. Let's see what Jim Davis can find off the top of the library.
Let's see, Fable the Mirror Breaker, a turn late, definitely.
It's at least something to, you know, dig a little deeper though, so not the worst to find off the top of the library.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see if Jim prioritizes getting something onto the battlefield like Fable or just casting Big Score.
Yeah, Big Score is that's one way to get ahead, you know.
Yeah.
Getting to 7 mana, getting to cost big dumb spells, getting Chandra down on the board, you know, that's all a way to swing things back in your favor. But Jim deciding that Fable of the Mirror Breaker is the way to go here. Get another creature on the board and possibly discard a couple cards.
Yeah, have another blocker. Maybe it's a double block Adeline if you want to. And just the fact that, you know, the cards you're ramping into with Chandra and Invoke Despair, not that good against Esper Legends right now when you're kind of already behind on the battlefield.
Yeah. So the turn passes back to Pedro Schiavetto, Shieldred, and Rafine in hand. So talk about redundant copies of Legends. Rafine, certainly something that's going to get gone very shortly as Shieldred hits the battlefield.
Yeah, and now with Skrelv able to protect that, this is going to be a really tough game for Jim Davis to win here.
Certainly is. So Pedro is making Jim Davis's life difficult here with Esper Legends. You know, everyone thinking, oh, Esper Legends, it's washed up. No, it's still quite good indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Shota making it look really good as well as Pedro here.
Targeting Adeline with the Ravine.
Yeah.
Okay, resolve your triggers.
Draw 3, Spectre.
Trigger.
Gain a
Ding,
lot
ding,
of life
ding.
there.
Wow. 3 cards drawn. Man, Rafine and Shieldred is brutal.
Quite a combination, that is for sure. Yeah, this has been just a really nice curve out here for Pedro.
Yeah. Go for the Throat Plains and now 2 Rafines in hand.
Yeah, and yeah, the go for the throat just in case Jim has something really powerful like Shieldred to be able to kind of stabilize a little bit. But yeah, game 1, I imagine, pretty rough for the Rakdos side. Then games 2, you get to take out some of your 7-mana sorceries that are not very good against Thalia.
Tax effects on already expensive spells don't sit super well post-board, so...
Exactly.
You know, we're talking about it already, but this is the way that the matchup seems to be going at this point. You know, Pedro had this excellent curve, it's just applying so much pressure, and Jim Davis doesn't have much going for him at the moment.
Yep, not really deciding what to block here. And Pedro just has been playing excellent, too. Putting these counters exactly at the trickiest spots right now. Like, Jim has not had a good opportunity to really get any favorable blocks going. Like here, just a chump block. Not what he's looking for here. So something that Jim's really going to need to get back into this game is, like, find a Tali, discard it, and then find Cruelty as well, and try to do something with that. But like Chandra's
Invoke Despair.
Like Chandra's not great because Skrelv gets to protect one of the targets.
Oh,
And that was a tapped land, which is not a good start.
Big score, Invoke Despair. Could cost that this turn, but I mean, wow, at that rate, it's just asking for death.
Yeah, there'll be Despair all right from Jim if you cast that one.
Sadness goes on the stack. Go for the throats, okay, all right, but still Skrelv. Kind of a problem there with anything that says target.
Yeah, and go for the throat. Can't target the only creature it would actually deal with. So I think this is Jim just running the numbers here, seeing if he can even survive at this point instead of how am I going to win? It's how can I live through one more turn to try to figure something out.
Well, let's see what he goes for here. Are we invoking some Despair? We sure are.
Right. Yep. Okay.
So. I do love how Jim's streaming persona comes through even in situations like this.
Yeah.
It's just like, eek, please.
I'll try my best.
Black.
You're at 21.
XP from black, yeah. There goes
17.
Skrelv. Ding, ding, draw.
Draw 2 and lose 4, right?
He's like, yep, no big deal.
You're
Goodness me.
Draw 2.
Man, Shieldred is so rough with decks that like to draw cards.
Exactly, yeah. Invoke Despair, probably another one of those cards that's probably going to be sideboarded out. We see.
Like, oh, cool. I'm going to hit myself a couple times. This is fine. Yep, and that's going to be the scoop from Jim. Happy to move on to game 2 there because, whoo boy.
Yeah,
he just couldn't get a foothold in that.
Yeah, really couldn't. But then looking at Jim's sideboard, I mean, you have 2 Cut Down, 2 Lithomatic Barrage, Obliterating Bolt, Gix Command, Abrade, Soul Transfer, all of these removal spells that are most assuredly going to come in response for all of these gigantic sorceries that are just really not great for here.
Yeah.
The cards you really want those cards against are other Fable, other Blood Tithe Harvesters decks. I know Jim, I was talking to him, and he wasn't expecting as much Esper Legends, so really put the sideboard focusing on that and the main deck focusing on other Harvester Fable decks.
Yeah, especially if you expect, the majority of the field to be playing these black-red based decks.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense. So in this matchup, provided all goes well, you'd expect Jim Davis to have the advantage.
Yep, their thought as a team was, with the printing of Lithomatic Barrage being basically cut down 5, 6, and sometimes 7 against these decks, that the Esper Legends players would be a little afraid and not bring the deck in as high of numbers. They were right, but it was, of course, not 0.
Yeah, I mean, you still need to account for that. Even though mono white is not highly played here, there are still a couple players running around with it. And, and from what I can tell, a couple are doing pretty good with it, too. So.
Absolutely. Okay, so we see Denek here, Harvester being played. See what kind of follow-up Pedro has here.
It is great being in amongst the players. You just hear some crazy stuff happening behind us at times.
Yeah, it's the 8th round. It's a lot of those win and make it into the next day's situations. You got to love the excitement from the players.
Yeah, here we're focusing on the 8-0s, but the 4 and 4s. They're winning their next day to play, basically.
That's my bread and butter when I was at Pro Tour. Got to win that last round to be able to draft the next day. Yeah, that was all me. All right, so another new card we're seeing in hand is Surge of Salvation.
Yeah.
Ends up being a really strong card against, well, not only just Rakdos strategies, but, just gaining hexproof, kind of doing its best blossoming defense impression here.
Man, that was such a cool card.
Yeah, in a color pair that doesn't normally have this kind of effect. So really interesting card there for Pedro.
Yeah, that's a card that Frank Carson mentioned in his metagame breakdown, or cards that he'd expect to see make their way into these standard decks, and Surge of Salvation definitely high up there. Yeah,
and speaking of, Frank wrote a lot of really awesome pieces for anybody who wants to check out some more deep dives in standard.
Yeah, magic.gg, go look.
Really great stuff. I absolutely love his articles.
Yeah. If you want to find out anything more about our teams as well, Team Channel Fireball, Team Handshake, the Sewer Rats, Sanctum of All. There's so many teams going around.
So many of them.
Reckoner Bankbuster hits the board here for Jim Davis. And a second Blood Tithe Harvester.
I like how Jim just slams down these cards, too, with force. And this is a great draw for Jim. This is exactly what you want. You want these low-to-the-ground curves. You don't want to be having all these really expensive cards. So I bet this matchup really flips where game 1 is basically abysmal for Jim, but games 2 and 3, where you get to really make your deck nice and lean, ends up helping a ton.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, if you do manage to get a win on the Rakdos deck against Esper Legends in game 1, you're very happy about that.
Oh,
because it's kind of like a freebie, right?
Yeah, and if you're on the play, it's definitely not impossible,
Top of the deck variants, all that. Land, flood, and screw, it all comes in.
Exactly. We do see big old Atali in Jim's hand as well. You don't have to pay that tax for Thali if you just cast that card straight away. It's kind of the thing that I love the most about these Reanimator strategies, or, Rakdos Breach, however you want to label what these decks are doing, is you always had to either destroy your own mana base so you could play a Traxa, play a bunch of Triomes, a bunch of Pain Lands, win your base Rakdos.
Yeah.
Or you just pray that you get Cruelty to bring it back. Now you actually have one of your powerful payoffs. You can just cast for 7 mana. It becomes a lot more powerful and versatile.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. I mean, the success you've had with similar reanimation lists, you much preferred Atali because of that reason, just being able to cast it if you had to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In a pinch, you can still get a big old beater down and steal some good stuff from your opponents.
Yeah.
So.
Just being able to automatically hit off Atali. If it was a situation where you flip the top and if it's a land, you don't get anything, this card would go from really, really powerful to almost unplayable.
Yeah.
So really impressive stuff.
A glow up from the previous version of Atali where, she'd have to swing first and then get the trigger. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other side, oh boy, I wonder if we'll see someone die to infect this weekend. It's not going to be the toxic deck, most likely.
Yeah,
it's
more than likely.
It's going to be Atali.
More than likely.
We're going to get down with the primal sickness, that's for sure.
13 to 20.
All right, Thalia and Urtai in hand, as well as that Otawara. So now Pedro has a really tough decision here. Do you want to hold up Urtai the whole game, or do you want to get down a threat and start taxing?
It's a Thalia.
Yeah, it's a Thalia.
Yeah.
Thalia results.
Thalia on the board.
Just go ahead.
A cool little art.
Yeah, it's a sweet variant.
Cool
of her. I
alternate
like
art
it.
there.
And she's dead. Is she dead?
Now there is that surge,
Dead.
surge of salvation.
Yeah. Hexproof.
And it's got to be pretty tempting. I mean, otherwise,
Yeah.
what are you really doing with that? You'd also have Otawara if you just want to bounce it.
Yeah, that doesn't get taxed by Thalia. Excuse me, Thalia, but the Surge of Salvation would be. So she survives, sticks around, is going to be taxing Jim Davis mana.
And I believe that was a cruelty off the top.
Oh,
so
yeah?
good save there from Pedro, because you had it all wrapped up to just discard a Tali and then play cruelty, bring it back immediately.
Man, that would have been bad beats indeed.
Oh, I lied. It was a Fable, not a cruelty.
Not a Fable, all right.
But Jim's hand still looks excellent
Yeah.
here, being able to draw some cards, play Fable for 4. Then you can't really play Go for the Throat, but you can draw off Bankbuster. And Jim's not at a super low life total right now where he has to be super concerned about it. Just wants to find land 7 to jam a tally.
He's just expanding his battlefield, you know, just getting his threats down. Doing his own thing for the time being, and he'll worry about Thalia later, mostly when she's probably blocking a big old dragon.
Yep, there you
Dinosaur,
go.
excuse me.
All right, this is going to be a huge tension point here. Shieldred was the top deck, so if Pedro wants, can get really aggressive and play that, or play more defensive and have Urtai available for a Tali. Makes the defensive play, says go, and should probably pay dividends here.
Here we go.
That's if Jim finds a land. Otherwise,
Oh,
maybe
he's
it's
got
not going to work as much.
Breach in hand there, too.
Yeah, and that one is a little taxed.
Yeah.
And I guess Jim can just attack with the Shaman to gain that 7th mana.
3, 3.
Just get the land there from it. Sitting on 25, Jim is at 9.
Yeah, and Breach of the Multiverse, sometimes when you just put the cards onto the stack, you know, Thalia would tax it, but these do just get put into play. So Thalia does not tax the additional cards you're putting into play.
There's an interesting interaction with the battles. If Thalia's on the board, you don't have any mana, and you try to cast the backside of the battle, and it's a non-creature, you're getting taxed.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
Well, we might see it show up tomorrow. I don't think we had any of those interactions today, but yeah, just something to be wary of. And that Phyrexian Sensor too.
Yep.
Oh boy, there's definitely some gotcha cards in Limited, which we'll see much more of tomorrow, but for now, we are still trying to find out who will remain our undefeated player in the Pro Tour.
Yeah, so crazy to think that Jim Davis had his first paper feature match here against
That's
Luis Scott
insane.
Vargas.
I feel like he's been playing for decades at this point.
Yeah, and just took 5th at Worlds, just barely, you know, tiebreakered out of being in the top 8 with 2 other teammates, Jakob Toth and Eli Cassis, in that tournament not too long ago in Las Vegas.
I mean, he's just been chaining qualifications together since the Neon Dynasty Championship, so he's been having one heck of a run.
So here is the Urtai that was just cast, and I believe not targeting anything.
Okay. Just happy to hang? Just a flashy friend? All right, Thalia getting taken care of with a braid there.
Right?
Yeah. I suppose maybe this was end step?
Yeah, it must
that
be.
Would make more sense.
Jim
Otherwise,
just not committing anything to the board that turn then. Nice.
All right,
Get
minimizing the
Urtai.
battlefield just to have a Denic left, looking really good for Jim. And a smart play to not go for a Tali there. Really heads up from Jim. It would have ran right into maybe kind of a face-up Urtai. It was a little obvious there.
Down to 25.
Otawara, Shieldred in hand for Pedro Schiavetto. Tapping out here now for the Apocalypse. Jim Davis needs to take a little caution here with his life total, because this is getting too close for comfort for my liking. But that does now mean that the coast is clear for shenanigans.
Plenty of shenanigans. We can either see Breach, the Multiverse, or a Tali here.
What do you like more?
I think Breach probably here, because you do get 2 things.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it's reasonable. Either way, both are extremely powerful here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jim did just use a Braid and Go for the Throat on 2 other creatures, so this Go for the Throat not having an answer to Shieldred could be a problem.
Alrighty. Let's do some flippity-flopping of the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It's a reflection of Kikijiki hanging out. We have the pilot. We've got the Goblin Shaman. That little guy stuck around longer than he usually does.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Esper not necessarily super good at killing it, but all right, here we
we're
go.
Going for it.
Which gigantic spell are we going to play?
Breach the multiverse. I love it. Let's get milling. Let's grab a creature or planeswalker and have some fun, shall we?
Yep, both player milling the 10 and choosing, the creature or planeswalker in their graveyard. So not even...
Not of the 10 that I milled, yeah.
So no matter what, you got Urtai from Pedro.
Yeah, Urtai smacks the Shieldred.
Yeah, Urtai, get rid of Shieldred. Sounds great.
Ooh, yeah. All right, let's see what else we get, though. What are the options here?
Okay.
Graveyard Trespasser? That's not too terrible.
Yeah, pretty weak
Urtai.
hit from Jim, but...
Ooh. Yeah, how much does he want to Shieldred of his own?
That's a good point. Yeah, Jim would really like to take 2 cards from Pedro here for sure.
Definitely.
If that was possible.
The first thing he has to prioritize is keeping his life total a little higher, so the Graveyard Trespasser will help with that. Now, what does he grab from Pedro?
Yeah, I think I like this a little bit better. It's a little bit safer. You could get a Shieldred, but then if you lose the Shieldred of your own, all of a sudden now you're in trouble.
So those are all in the graveyard. Finishes off any spell. 2 triggers in the stack.
Nice.
We can't target, right?
What?
We can target.
Correct. This trigger is good. Right?
Oh yeah, can't target with Denek. Yeah, and it is
correct,
put those cards on the battlefield. So Denek doesn't prevent Breach, but it does prevent Graveyard Trespasser
from
targeting
the creatures that are in there.
And now one interesting interaction is Pedro does have Otawara to bounce Urtai to be able to then recast it, bounce it to his own hand.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
But it's still a little slow.
Yeah.
Crew.
I mean, he's at 25, so he's all right for the time being. Like, another Shieldred off the top, that's going to be quite difficult for Jim Davis to deal with. So now it's just turn things sideways mode and try and get Pedro dead in game 2 here of round number 8.
All right, gonna need a big draw here from Pedro to be able to advance to 8-0 straight away. If not, it looks looking pretty likely that we're gonna be heading to a game number 3. I wouldn't have it any other way between the 2 undefeated players. And yeah, don't forget, Jim Davis does have a Tali to just have some fun next turn as well.
Yeah, please, could we? Please, sir, I want some more.
Go ahead.
Thalia back on the board, adding to the legend count here for the reduction on Otawara Soaring City.
Yep, so one of these Otawaras can hit Urtai for the low cost of 2. These channel lands end up being so awesome in this deck.
They're so good in this list.
Yeah.
Silken Zen and Besage, nothing against you guys, but yeah. The Esper colors, so sweet.
Much better for sure.
All right, where are we going, Jim?
All right, just 4 mana. Looks like a Shieldred.
Hey. Okay, all right.
That's
a way to get some
that
life back.
Over Atali is pretty interesting.
I like it. No way to gain life at the moment with this Bankbuster out of counters.
True.
Yeah, except for the Bloods if you really want to.
Yeah, that is equal to 4 life there.
Yeah,
so
that could be huge.
That's not nothing.
Oh, that's good.
So Bankbuster just getting thrown towards Pedro's life total. And a good line of blockers in the back line there for Jim Davis.
Yeah, whenever you have 2 rows of creatures, and the red zone coming in, yeah, you're usually ahead, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Denek jumping ahead there with Thalia's help to kill this 3/3 Trespasser.
I'll,
Just before damage.
Yeah, what are we killing?
yeah, I'm ordering that. We'll do...
Looks like
Killing
Thalia
okay.
being up front.
This first.
Yep.
Okay. This.
All right. And it looks like we're going to bring Otawara, Soaring City, to return Urtai.
Urtai.
Okay.
Bouncing Urtile. Let's see if Jim has any way to sacrifice it or anything. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, you don't really want to use a go for the third on that.
Yeah, not really.
It's just like, okay, something I have to play around now.
You have Urtai and Mystery card in your hand.
Urtai and Mystery card. You can
For
tell
sure.
that Jim is a very popular streamer.
Yes,
That is,
sure is.
definitely how he'd be talking on his channel, be like, and breaking down the game
Yeah,
by
gotta
just
love it.
saying the information face up.
And that's one way I learned to, how different archetypes work is just by watching these players,
Yeah,
talking through
absolutely.
their plays and everything. It's just a great way to get better at the game.
Yeah, he's got
It's
a
to watch the best play it.
very informative and a really fun stream. Absolutely.
Instant.
And a cute little dog named Karn. You know,
Yeah, he's
nobody.
so cute.
Not everyone loves Karn, the Planeswalker itself, but
No.
everyone would love Karn, Jim's dog,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Cuddly little fella.
Instant. I will crew Bankbuster.
All right, Bankbuster.
I copy it.
Sure.
Have a copy token.
Cute
Yep.
little copy here that
Yeah.
comes with 3 counters on it, and I believe, yeah, this was at end step.
I
Yep.
will Draw a card off it.
So you get to draw a card
Nice.
and you get to keep it.
So in response to that, you're an Urtai.
Urtai flashes in, targeting
When this is destroyed, does it still trigger?
Shieldred.
Like, so the draw is part of the effect. Does the shield still
I was
trigger?
wondering that too,
Sure, thank you.
but the flip side,
Does this
so
actually
so
trigger
this just
dissolving?
happened, but the
I
other
believe
way.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that could be Pedro missing the trigger when it happened the other way.
Ah, right.
Because if it gets destroyed, you still draw the card
It's control of those
simultaneously.
card,
I don't think it affects with Shieldred, but I was not 100%, so we're going to find
so-
out here. Let's listen to the judge.
This one, when it goes on the stack, he's choosing this mode. When it's using modes, it destroys it. It carries out the instructions in the order printed on the card. So the first thing it does is destroy.
Okay.
And so it is destroyed.
Okay.
And then you draw a card. And so it'll be out of play when you draw.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so this is going to be destroyed. This is mine, right? Yeah. So I'm going to draw off the Urtai and then draw off the Bankbuster, right? So draw off the
Yep.
Urtai.
Always
Blockbuster.
worth knowing about how these little interactions work. You know, always find to call a
5-15,
judge with
right?
this. You know,
Yeah.
Jim was probably pretty sure how it works, but it's always better
good
to be
double
100%.
check, yeah, for sure. You know, because that 2 life could make a difference.
Bankbuster.
Okay.
From front
Yeah, yeah,
Could
yeah.
be the difference in this game.
Yep, so now I have the Bankbuster until the next turn. It can crew, it can do everything up until end step where it'll be exiled. So a nice little cute interaction. It's Dino time.
Yeah, let's see. All right, what we got? Land. No. Takanuma, Rafine. Cool. Ooh. Rafine and Fable.
And Fable.
Ooh, okay.
Dino time.
Oh, man. That is
Cast both of these.
quite a lot of triggers off of our dear friend Rafine if
You're
everything
15.
starts swinging.
Yeah, and here is the time that you just live for as the Rakdos Reanimator gamer, just where you're doing the things, you know you can't really lose the game, and you
Oh,
just
yeah.
have a good old time.
Thank you. These are all summoning
Get some
six.
tokens. We can crew the little creatures. Bankbuster. Oh man, this is looking so good right now for Jim
Yeah.
Davis. On the other side of things, Pedro is just kind of sitting as he goes through the motions. Doesn't really
I'm
have
gonna
all that
crew
much
The Bankbuster as the copy.
to do in response to all of this.
Yep,
And move to combat.
and here we go.
Connive.
Let's see if he remembers his
twice.
Rafine trigger.
Yeah.
There we go.
Draw 2.
Draw 2. Discard 2. Already got another Fable, Cliffs, and go for the throat in hand.
Discard 2. Over here.
And a Swamp Found.
Okay.
I got a treasure. And then pass
And
the
Gix's
blockers.
Command.
I would just like refer time and
Alright.
damage.
Take 4.
11.
Okay.
11.
Takes
Drop
4 here. Jim was forced to discard at least one spell
Yeah.
with Dennick being able to block the Shaman, so heads up counter on that, and then we're going to see that copy token go away.
Hey, it did its job.
Yeah. Drew a card, dealt 4 damage, not bad.
I'm going to keep doing a lot more stuff.
I'm going to keep doing more stuff, says Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I have stuff and things. Look at all these. Yeah, Pedro is just like, okay, cool. Yes, you have it. Let's go. Game 3.
All right, big game. Big game, everyone. Let's watch this. Hoping for no mulligans. Looks like there is a mulligan down to 6 here for Pedro.
All right.
But Pedro is on the play.
Yeah. And a
Much-
pretty good hand there, too.
Yeah, not bad. Couldn't cast Skrelv on turn 1. That's pretty awkward, but Rona can come down. Decent. Yeah, actually, it's not the best hand. I mean, you need Rona to live. If Jim has a removal spell for that, which you do, we'll see if Jim fires that off instead of the Harvester here. If Jim had perfect information, he'd snap, go for throating.
He sure did. Yep. He went so fast to drop the card, man.
Looks like it. All right, big draw step. Otherwise, Pedro does nothing here. Okay.
Just a little Skrelv, buddy. Go for the throat in hand, Surge of Salvation to protect it, and Shieldred in hand there. So here comes Blood Tithe Harvester from Jim Davis. There is the blood token. Go for the throat, takes care of that creature.
Okay.
Passes the turn back. Let's see what we find here
big draw step.
Adeline. All right, that's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. This gets a board presence if Skrelv gets going, but he's just going to hang.
That was a great draw. Yeah. That was a great draw, actually. Being able to protect Adeline, a Swamp would have been great, too, to have a Shieldred to protect that. Now Jim does have to find something.
Certainly does need to get rid of the Skrelv ASAP because Adeline runs away with games. We've seen her as an absolute all-star in whatever list she's been in. So, Graveyard Trespasser, taking care of the Rona, Ding and Drain.
21-19?
Yep.
And it is daytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And only having Go for the Throat as the bit of interaction. You have a Tali, which is a great late game spell. The mana to cast it here pretty close, at least if you top deck it. But Go for the Throat's not doing anything against the old Skrelv Adeline protection. And a Cave's off the top. Oh, that was huge.
Let's go. All right, Shieldred, the Apocalypse down on the board now. Skrelv on defense duty as Adeline.
I'm so sorry.
Take a damage there from the Painland.
Attack here, trigger.
Pedro drew out of this very well here.
Sure
that was really huge.
And now he is just putting the foot down.
Can I block?
You can. Sure.
Take 4.
Easy block there of the little guy. In for 4.
Yep.
Down to 17 goes Jim.
4. And now the Shieldred tax begins. Jim needs something right here.
Yeah.
Something even like a cut down is great though, because you can cut down Skrelv, and then if it goes to target anything in response, go for the throat Shieldred or Adeline. But
that would be the ideal situation here. Let's see what he's got. Does he just flip this to nighttime? That would be like worst case scenario. Just to get the 4/4 body in front of Adeline.
Yeah, it's not bad if you do have the cut down or some other piece of removal, then it's not terrible, because you do get to just get a little bit of a larger creature.
Go for the throat, targeting Shieldred.
Is this second go for the throat? Yeah, okay. Okay, that was still a great draw, though.
There you go. All right, Shieldred dealt with. Still a big, big threat.
What a heads-up play from Jim there. Normally, you're like, okay, I want to say go, turn it tonight, and do exactly what you were saying, but wanted to play around Surge of Salvation there, which Pedro had, so very impressive stuff.
Big power now? Yeah, block token. Take 3.
Blocking the token again, taking 3.
12, 16.
Okay.
Ooh, this game is going a lot faster than the first 2.
It sure is. And I believe Jim has 2 cards left, 1 land plus a Tali, so I think you need to find 1 more at some point. But a Tali is a great stabilizer here.
Yeah.
Mostly to just have a different color creature, just in case Skrelv wants to go aggressive, not by attacking, but by forcing through to not be able to block.
Giving hexproof to a color. You know, definitely want to have some red and black there.
Yeah. So now Adeline can just be blocked. So Pedro might be in the situation, especially with that Surge of Salvation in hand, where you just force it through. Be like, all right, take 3, I'll lose the counter, and just keep doing this every single turn and hope that it's enough.
Man, what a great card in this weekend. Surge of Salvation, eh?
Yeah. Yep, and here it goes. Looks like it is time.
Black.
Pro black. In response.
Drew a redundant Adeline and a tapped blue-black land, so nothing special there.
Swinging in here with Adeline, can't be blocked.
Take 3.
Okay, big draw step for Jim here. I think there is only one card in hand, so I don't think that Sulphur Springs is in hand. So the graphics a little off on that one. There we go.
Yep. Tali Primal Conqueror in hand does have the blood token, but maybe wants to use that to get rid of Skrull once and for all.
All right, top decked a reflection of Kiki Jiki. When that gets cast, that'll be flipped to the other side.
Trying to kill that, he says. Okay, and that results. No protection for the little mite.
Yeah, could have saved it with Surge.
Yeah. And Fable Mirror Breaker down on the board. Here comes the Goblin token. This guy's going to see a lot of action this weekend.
Yeah, that's a little interesting that we didn't Surge to protect the Skrell. That was kind of, looked like Pedro's, you know, kind of game plan there. But now Jim gets to go on the offensive a little bit.
Yeah, Graveyard Glutton going to start chomping. Adeline is without protection. So
he's going to 12.
2 creatures got?
2 got eaten, so you get to gain 2 life here and lose 2 life. Jim's definitely more concerned about the loss of life.
Yeah.
But now, even if Adeline gets in there...
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, before damage. Just clarifying that to make sure.
There
it is. But now, Jim has this Shaman locked up to be able to attack and get land number 7 no matter what for Atali. So, advantage part definitely swinging back in Jim Davis's favor.
Pedro's going to need something soon. Otherwise, this is going to be bad news bears for our second 7-0 player alongside Jim Davis, Rona, Herald of the Invasion on the board. 8 and 10. These players. Another copy of Adeline's Surge of Salvation in hand. Passing the turn back. Is it Dino time?
I think it's Dino time. Going to see Chapter 2 if you want to discard anything. Takenuma
nice.
is just able to just cast the card without having to attack your creature into Adeline.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're either going to find a land or you're going to find spells. And if you didn't have Atali locked up with the Shaman, there's no way Jim would have discarded that.
Yeah.
But with the Shaman,
for sure.
Worst case, Jim drew a spell and gets to still play the Dino.
Just checking out the backside of Rona, Herald of the Invasion. Pretty scary card if this starts swinging.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially at such a low life total here. Jim Davis is sitting at 8.
2 cards.
Yeah. So Jim really has to be afraid right now of those 2 Disdainful Strokes that are in the sideboard. Jim doesn't know that it's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, and just says go.
Says go. Being a disciplined.
Too disciplined in this scenario.
Yes. Working with perfect information? Yes.
Yeah.
He's just going to hang back, though. Not feeling like he's got to push it too much here. Perhaps wanting to just use what he has available to him right now. And it could come back to haunt him here.
Definitely could. We'll see here. Second Surge of Salvation picked up. Not ideal. Adeline, not ideal. Island, not ideal so far. Pedro drew really well immediately to get out of this kind of sticky situation.
Yeah.
But since then has drawn pretty abysmally.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem with Esper Legends at times is, well, you play a lot of Legends. You know, you can't play, you can't just progress the board as much as you can.
What are we doing here? Are we flipping?
Pay 2 life.
And Jim was first like, oh no, is that ow, or is this just a flip?
It's just a transform.
He's going to be a lot happier that it's a transform.
Yeah. Drawing discard off Rona. Not wanting to cast the second Adeline to untap it.
Okay, here is the flip, and it is Dino time.
No targets yet.
Whee! All right, let's see. Atali, Primal Conqueror, what do we get? Invasion of Gobekon.
And if you listen to what Pedro said there, no targets, right?
Yeah.
So that is leaking information. Be like, okay, if what do you have where you would ask that question? Surge of the Salvation gives you hexproof as well. So Jim will probably pick up on that information and also gets to see the hand. So that probably makes it easier.
Oh, it makes it a bunch easier. And Jim Davis is looking poised here to remain as our undefeated player heading into day 2 of the Pro Tour. March of the Machine. That's got to feel pretty darn good. That
does have to be feeling very good, especially at your first Paper Pro Tour where you're getting a feature match. Definitely not his first Paper Pro Tour by any means. He's been around for a long time.
All right, but Pedro's not out of it yet. These Esper decks are wily. Woo! Well, no, that's not a woo. We have to go backwards. Ooh-ah!
Ooh-ah, there you go. There you go.
Yep, that's what happens when it comes daytime.
And
what we got? 4 manas as a shield red.
And we'll see if maybe Atali might be flipped. If there's any game where Atali is going to be flipped for the poison, it could be this one.
Takenuma.
All right, Takenuma. No responses from
No 3.
Yeah. It's a Portuguese, but...
Jim.
Okay.
Wow, Thalia and Adeline as targets.
Yeah, gonna
No
get
Danik to get in the
Thalia
way there.
since the other card is redundant from the card you have in the battlefield, but doesn't really matter too much here.
It's kind of like a desperation.
Can I go?
Yeah.
You get attack, yeah.
Attack.
Get a creature. Oh man, this is just gonna get chomped by a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Just this.
It is kind of awkward, though, if there is a super powerful card in Jim's hand. We know there's a land, so that ability is not going to be devastating. But, you know, if Jim did have a Thalia in hand and didn't really read the ability good enough, you know, that could have been a big problem. But
If you result, no, I just want the trigger, so...
So I die?
I just want the trigger.
Okay.
I mean, the damage would still happen, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be it.
There it is.
That's going to be it. The sigh of relief there from Jim Davis. 8-0 on day 1 of a Pro Tour. That has got to feel so, so good.
That really does. Big
What a
congratulations to my buddy Jim Davis on an impressive day 1. I know he's definitely thinking, you know, there's still plenty of work to do because, well, you know, 8-0 does not take home a trophy. It does not take home $50,000.
No, but it feels darn good.
It definitely feels good.
Because then all you need is 4 more, and you get to sit back and relax and enjoy a MagicCon for the rest of tomorrow. So I bet Jim Davis will be aiming for that. We still have much more Magic to show you before we wrap up for the day, friends. So Maria and Mani are going to tell us what's up next.
Coming up next, everybody, we've got Karl Sarap versus Yiwen Chen.
Karl Sarap is on Rakdos midrange. This build developed by Team Handshake. You do see all the regular hits of Blood-Tithe Harvester, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Shieldred, but this build is playing Chandra to go alongside their Invoke Despairs and the spicy one of Light Up the Night. On the other side, Yiwen Chen with Azorius Soldiers, the low-to-the-ground aggressive deck, is really trying to get onto the board ahead of the curve from the opponent. You do see new inclusions of Invasion of Gobakon really making a splash in this deck.
That's Rakdos midrange versus Azorius Soldiers coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the Twin City. It is Pro Tour March of the Machine from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are in round number 8, the final round of the day, my friends. If you have been with us the entire day, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching as we just set Jim Davis at the perfect record for the day, 8-0. So bravo to him. But we still have more magic for you, friends, before we wrap up for the day. Let's jump into our next feature match. It is going to be Karl Sarap versus Yiwen Chen, this awesome Azorius soldiers list, up against Rakdos Midrange. Both players are 6-1, so looking to improve that record to 7-1.
Yep, absolutely. We've seen a little bit of Azorius soldiers, haven't seen too much of Karl Sarap, but we have seen this exact list in hands of other teammates, and this is not the deck that Yiwen wants to play against here. Cut Down being an excellent card against these soldiers deck, and it's able to put a clock on this deck as well. But with Yiwen going first, that is very helpful.
For sure is. As we do join these players in game number 2, Karl Sarap up a game thus far. Recruitment officer on the board to kick things off here.
Yep.
And Duress getting all the information that it can.
Yeah, and a couple of really nice hits here. You have the Welcome, which is really the ability to draw.
Awesome.
Yeah, you got 2 of them, though, so it's tough to take that away. So might want to take the Surge of Salvation just to clear the way of other spot removal. And, you know, I mean, Yiwen still has to draw land to be able to get that card going.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then you have to find creatures on top of that as well. There is the one, you know, the one Zephyr Sentinel, but only does so much.
Quick translation there from the judges. Thank you very much, judges. A long, long day for everyone here. Players, judges, everyone behind the scenes. I mean, we get to just, you know, chill on a couch backstage and have a nap in between rounds if we really wanted to.
Yeah, they don't really have that luxury.
So shout out to all the unseen heroes of the day as we get damage underway here with the recruitment officer getting in for 2 points of damage against Karl.
Okay. And, I mean, 2 2-1s here is really excellent.
Yeah.
This Surge of Salvation can kind of force through damage here. If Yiwen wants to, you know, you could just block that and then force it through, but top decks a creature into the Welcome. Really nice draws there.
Yeah. You know, just extra ways to draw cards as mono white. You know, the recruitment officer is a good way to filter through Takesha's Welcome as well.
Yep.
An excellent way to get cards every time you play a creature. So it's great.
Sky Strike Officer as well. This deck has no problem with drawing some extra cards here. And Yiwen was not one of the 3-0 drafters, so has XO'd standard so far. Really impressive stuff.
That is very, very cool indeed.
All right, and we did pick up land number 4 as well. So you do have the ability to activate that if you want, or just bounce it.
This 3/3 is a bit of a pain in the butt here for these 2-powered creatures.
And so is Zephyr Sentinel. That card has looked so good. We saw it against the domain strategy a little earlier where it was dodge and removal spells, but...
Looks a little bit like Teferi in the art, you know, just like jumping with his stick.
Yeah. Teferi with legs. I like it.
He has legs. What are you talking about?
Well, Teferi that can attack is what I meant. You know?
Oh, yes, right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Gotcha. Surge of Salvation protecting there from a potential go for the throat from Karl Sarap. So these creatures are doing their best hanging around here. Karl Sarap is tapped out, so now's a good time to resolve some goodies here for Yiwen Chen, and it is going to be the Denick on the battlefield now.
Yeah.
Alongside the Sky Strike.
A great turn here, and every first creature is drawing you a card as well, and now this officer is threatening to draw a card as well right now. And here's the interesting thing. Do you want to tap and draw? Yiwen says yes, but now
that's a lot of damage coming through.
There's 7 damage coming in right now. And
and the deluge. Oh, get out of here, board. Oh, man, that is rough.
That was a blowout here. Nice play by Karl.
Jeez, like. Okay, a little less damage because of the minus effects, Glistening Deluge. But still, ow. All right, recruitment officer back. Draw a card off of Takesha's Welcome.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a slight misstep on there on Karl. I believe you could have just did that second main phase, right, and attacked.
Yeah. Attack
Probably
first
not
and then
the
do that.
biggest deal.
But it's looking all right for now. Invoke Despair, getting got there by the invasion of Gobkhan.
Okay, that will cost 7 mana now, so pretty far away from casting that one, so a nice invasion. Came a little late where you don't have as many creatures now.
Shout out to our card popper-uppers for flipping that card so we don't break our neck every time.
Yeah, no kidding. I've seen so many pictures of coverage members turning their heads sideways. Yeah.
And if we go the wrong way, we do what we almost did now at the booth and headbutt each other. So
Exactly. That's using our heads right there.
should have played around it. Oh, goodness me. Creatures aplenty now, back on the board. I mean, didn't we just see a board wipe? What's going on here?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that is what we've been seeing all, weekend when we've been seeing Yiwen play this deck is wrath the board, play 3 more creatures, draw 2 cards, wrath the board, play 2 more creatures. And it's looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, flips tonight now. Resolute Reinforcements helping out, getting that pesky Graveyard Trespasser off the battlefield. 2 Takacious welcomes. Now we're doubly welcome.
But no other cards in hand, I believe, from Yiwen. Just played the land and correctly plays the land, because if you draw a creature, you want to make sure you can drop as many lands as possible to chain them together, but yeah,
slowing things down here, increasing the tension. What's going to happen? It's a handshake, Corey, and that is going to be a clean 2-0 there for Karl Sarap. Rakdos getting the job done. We need to get out of here, friends, so I'm going to send it straight back to the desk. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much, Ailey and Corey. Welcome back to the News Desk, everybody. As we wrap up day 1 of competition here with Monty Devuti and Cedric Phillips, let's take a look at our leaderboard, if we can, and find out where we're at after day 1 of competition. Check this out. Jim Davis, your lone undefeated player in the entire field, leading the pack at 8-0, Monty.
Jim Davis is our lone undefeated player, but there are a handful of names at 7-1, and the big thing for me is Team Handshake. Javier Dominguez, Simon Nielsen, Karl Sarap, Nathan Stoyer, 4 members sitting at 7-1 here, Maria.
All right, there's a look at the leaderboard. Tomorrow, day 2, shaping up to be very exciting indeed. But let's talk about today, your card of the day, Monty.
Maria, it has to be Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'm sorry to say it, but it's in the 8-0 deck, 65% of the field. All of those Team Handshake players are on this card. It is just a powerhouse.
It absolutely is. There is no denying that. Fable of the Mirror Breaker.